to the cloud.
All right.
And as usual, we start with a prayer, asking for protection for us, for our family members, friends, the ones in need, and making sure that we are in sync with the protectors of this group, with our guardians. Today, it has been a while since we say the prayer of Caritas. So, Luis, can I volunteer you to be? Can I volunteer you to be the one?
There is a bell ringing here from a church nearby. I think you should choose someone because this bell will go on and on for some time.
For some time? Okay, right now. Okay. Leda, do you live close nearby? The same church?
I can read.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's close our eyes and just pay attention to the prayer.
God, our Father, whose all power and goodness, give strength to those who go through tribulations, give light to those who seek the truth, and fill the human heart with compassion and charity. God, give the guiding star to the traveler, consolation to the afflicted, and rest to the sick. Father, give repentance to the guilty, give truth to the spirit, guidance to the child, a father to the orphan. Lord, may your goodness stand over everything that you created. Mercy, Lord, to those who do not know you, and hope to those who suffer. May your goodness allow the consoling spirits to spread peace, hope, and faith everywhere. O God, a ray, a spark of your love can illuminate the earth. Let us drink from the fountains of this abundant and infinite goodness. All tears will be dried and all pain will be lessened. A single heart, a single thought will rise to you as a cry of gratitude and love. Like Moses on the mountain, we wait for you with open arms. O godness, O beauty, O perfection, we wish in some way to deserve your mercy. God, give us strength, help our progress so we may rise up to you. Give us pure charity and humbleness. Give us faith and reason. Give us the simplicity, Father, that will make our souls the mirror that will reflect your divine image. And so be it.
So be it. Thank you. Thank you, Leda. So a quick reminder for the ones interested in the next group, the mechanics of mediumship. The mechanics of mediumship, yeah. So I sent a note to everyone. If you didn't receive that email, let me know. I think the only one today that didn't receive the email was Christina, because I didn't have her email, but I will forward that note to you, Christina, now that I do have your email address.
Right, I thought I put it in there. Okay.
Yeah. So, but I sent to everyone that was interested. If you didn't receive, it's because I do not have your email, or I didn't see that you were interested in the classes. But if you were, let me know, and I will send that note to you. Okay. And before we start today, I brought this. This story is a real story from Chico Xavier's life that somebody told me this week, and I thought it was a very good one. It is about the power of kindness, and it is between Chico Xavier, this boy, and a train. So Chico used to say this story that one day he was waiting on this very same train, the train station over here. This is Chico Xavier by that same that train station many years ago. And he was in a hurry because he was late for an appointment that he had. And he was nervous, the train was late. And by the time the train arrived, so he was about to jump in the train when he heard this boy crying for his name. So this boy was so excited and calling Chico, Chico, hey, over here, just, talk to me. But Chico, all of a sudden, he was in this challenge. It was kind of very hard for him because he was thinking, well, I'm late. I should not really stop. I should jump in this train because otherwise I'm gonna miss it, and then definitely I will miss my appointment. But on the other hand, there was this boy calling for him, and Chico was a very nice person. He was a very sensitive person, especially when talking about kids. In this case, it was a 5-year-old boy. Finally, he decided to step aside, not jump into the train, stop and talk to the boy and stay there for the boy. Well, the boy ran to him and gave him this, this hug. And he was so happy about it and said, Chico, I'm so glad you stopped to talk to me. I'm so glad because I love you so much. And the mother of the boy was there too and talked to Chico, and she was happy about Chico's attitude. And she said, that she also admires him a lot. She was a big fan of his work, etc., etc. And then, well, the train was gone. The boy and the mother, they just continued their way, and then was there Chico again. He was sad because he missed the train. So Emmanuel, his spiritual guide, showed up. And then Emmanuel asked Chico, okay, Chico, what's going on? Why are you sad? And are you fine? So Chico said, well, I don't know, because I just missed my train and I missed my appointment. I had this, I had to visit this spirit center, and now I'm not going to be there. What should I do? And Emmanuel said, well, you may miss the train, that's true, but you actually just gained or acquired 10 more years of health, a healthy life. So you just got 10 more years, because if you stop to pay attention, by the time that boy gave you a hug, his feeling was so pure, his affection, his love was so pure, that from the heart of that boy, there was a huge amount of energy embracing you and covering you, the whole body, your whole perispirit. And that energy renovated the cells of your body and the thin fabric of your perispirit, to the point that you gained 10 more years of a healthy life. So talking about kindness, talking about prayer, and the power of this too. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the story. It's a real life case. And I did love this story. So Okay, so we started at the law of worship under prayer, and the question was 662. Can we pray effectively for others? And the answer was, people who pray exercise an influence through their desire to do good. By prayer, they attract good spirits who take part in the good they desire to do. And then the comment from Kardec is, through our thought and will, we possess a power of action that extends far beyond the limits of our physical world. To pray for others is an act of volition. If our will is passionate and sincere, it calls good spirits to the aid of the party prayed for and helps that person by suggesting good thoughts and by providing the strength of body and soul that he or she needs. Once again, a prayer from the heart is everything, while that of just the lips is worthless. And now, let me pull the book back. And so the next one is then number 663. Can we avoid our trials or change their nature by praying for ourselves? Any comments, anyone? Any thoughts? Giles so quiet today. Giles, are you sick or something? I hope you're not.
No, I'm not sick. Can we avoid our trials or change their nature by praying for ourselves? Well, I think the answer is we can put them off if we are sincere, but that these challenges we have chosen for ourselves, and these challenges are the things that make our spirit meeting these challenges. Doesn't matter whether we're successful or not, meeting them makes our spirit grow.
Mhm.
And that is the purpose of incarnation, is to grow our spirit. And of course, that growth is not lost in further reincarnations. So I didn't read the answer because it's long, but that's my answer. So I think we could probably put them off a bit, but it wouldn't do us any good because these are the challenges we have chosen for this incarnation. And so we should meet them.
That's a very good answer. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, hi, Sid. You're on mute.
I'm mute, yes. I don't know, because prayer does help. Not always that you get immediately, but it does help. And it certainly releases a lot of tension and worry.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's a good one.
And I mean, and I have seen where the courses have changed for good or ill. I do not know what is going on in the dimension above. I do not know. But
Mhm.
for here where we are, I have seen where situations have changed.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Leda.
The prayer, it doesn't change what you have to go through, but it changes you, yourself. The guide for Chico Xavier, who is the Spirit Emmanuel, he says that you should not ask God to take something that you had to go through away from you. but you can ask him to make you stronger,
Strong.
to make you able to deal with things. So if you do that, then changing yourself, things will be lighter. Like Jesus says that I won't know in English. His weight is lighter, right? So that's what prayer does. It doesn't change what you have to go through, but it changes yourself.
Right. It equips you. I mean, at the end of the day, whatever you have to live or whatever you have to run across is still the same, whatever you have to experience, but it does give you more strength to overcome the challenge, right? So it's not going to be as much as sacrifice. Yeah, it's kind of similar to what Giles said, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you. Art, you next.
In so much as the prayer will change our attitude, quite frequently a change of attitude will change the problems, the nature of the problems that beset us.
Yeah, it does change our perspective for sure. Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Una?
Oh, that was pretty good.
Una?
I was going to agree with Giles. We set, like in a pre-birth, we set up certain situations before we come here. So I don't think that our trials can be avoided. But some of them can't. The most important ones probably for the life can't be. But prayer maybe offsets maybe some of the more minor ones, or gives us grace or something like that. I think Caroline Mice talks about grace, and that maybe changes some aspect of the trial or some aspect of the future trial or something like that. Whereas Art says changes your perspective, which maybe changes how you deal with the trial, or what you perceive as a trial.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I agree. As you were talking, I just remembered this story from my sister, you know, that when she was delivering her second son, and then, you know, there was a nightmare, and she almost died. And then months later, we received this message from the Spiritist Center saying that actually it was her time to go, but because of our prayers and, you know, so many other stuff, then she was given, you know, a little bit more time. So let me, Art, can you read the answer? If there is no more comments, can you please read the answer, or is that too small for you?
No, I think I can catch it here.
Okay.
I forgot to raise my hand.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Just 1 second, Art. Yeah, go ahead, Maria. Sorry.
We have a book here. I don't know if it's translated to English, but Chico Xavier received the book from Emmanuel. And this name is Pensamento e Vida. How I can say isso? Thinking.
Life and Thoughts. Life and Thoughts.
Okay. In this book, we can read a little piece of the book that says it. Electricity is dynamic energy. Magnetism is static energy. Thought is electromagnetic force. Thought, electricity, and magnetism combine in all manifestations of universal life, creating gravitation and affinity, assimilation and disassimilation in the multiple fields of forms that serve the spirit's pilgrimage to the supreme goals. Wait a minute, please. I will in these multiple fields of forms that serve the spirit's pilgrimage to the supreme goals traced by the divine plan. The will, however, is determining impact.
Okay, yeah, got it. So basically the message in this book that you read from Chico Xavier, and the title of the book is Life and Thought. So it's saying that prayer is a sort of combination between electromagnetism and strong will or desire. Is based on the intentions, right? And with that, then you may change reality depending on, the quality of your thoughts, the quality of your prayers, and your will. Thank you. So Art, would you please read?
All right. Your trials are in God's hands, and there are some, though, through which you must persevere right to the very end. God always takes into account the submission with which they are endured. Prayer calls good spirits to your side, who give you strength to bear these trials with courage, so that they seem less severe. Prayer is never useless when it is sincere, because it gives you strength, which is important. After all, heaven helps those who help themselves. God could not change the natural circumstances to suit the various opposing demands that are made, because what appears to be a great misfortune to you from your narrow perspective and in relation to your temporary life on earth is often a great blessing for the general order of the universe. Anyway, how many troubles in life do humans create for themselves through their own short-sightedness or wrongdoing? One is punished where one has sinned. However, reasonable requests are granted more often than you believe. You think your prayer has not been answered because God has not produced a miracle for you, while in fact God has actually assisted you in such a natural manner that it seems to have been the effect of chance or the ordinary course of events. God even suggests the thought of what you must do to help yourselves when in trouble or when experiencing any kind of difficulty.
It's a long one, and I guess it's a sort of combination between all the comments. But there is but I would like to ask the group, what exactly did you understand when it says God could not change the natural circumstances to suit the various opposing demands that are made, because what appears to be a great misfortune to you from your narrow perspective and in relation to your temporary life on earth is often a great blessing for the general order of the universe. What do you think about it? It's often a great blessing for the general order of the universe. Hi, Saint.
I think because we do not really know what the situation is. We do not know why and what's going on. And again, when we see something that's really very hard to understand, there is a reason for it. And it works in conjunction with other things, because we are not alone. We are not individuals.
Yeah, agree. There is a message from Chico Xavier that was dictated, actually is a poem that was dictated by a poet, a Brazilian poet. And he he said something about in the universe, we do not evolve by ourselves. The entire humanity is the sum of all of us together, something like this. So just a single piece, just a single person has that abilities. Even though we are so small compared to the entire creation, but there is something about us that it makes a difference. I agree. Gloria.
Kind of what Hyacinth said is that we can't see the big picture, and what may seem like a tragedy to us in terms of the whole of humanity, it may lead to progress. An example would be, a parent might lose a child and out of their grief start a charity or a movement that then saves thousands of children. And today I attended a service of sorts where we worked on our own inner peace as a way to bring more peace in total on the earth. In other words, I can only work on my little piece, but my little piece contributes to the whole of peace in the universe because we're all interconnected. So something we might see as, oh, that's terrible, I lost my job. Well, God might want me over here in a different job that leads to something, on
even greater.
Yes, even greater. So, and that has been my experience, is that anytime something's taken away from me, it's restored and more. And I've learned to pray to God for this or something better, because God usually provides something better than what I'm praying for. And it may not look the way I prayed for it to look, but God knows better than I do what contributes the most to all of humanity.
Yeah, I really like your comment. I totally agree with you. Emmanuel, sometimes he says that sometimes we pray for things that actually will not do any good for us. And we just don't see the whole picture. Sometimes the medicine that we are experiencing right now, even though sometimes it's kind of sour or very sad stuff, but it may be the whole thing that is gonna heal us from something else. We just don't know. Leda.
I'd like to think as a negotiation sometimes, because if you have a debt, you have to pay the debt, of course, but you can get to the person that you owe and tell them, I can't pay now, can I pay a month later or next year, or can I pay installments? And that's how the divine law works too. They will measure all the parts that are involved, all the impact, like Gloria said, the impact of what you're asking. And if it will help you and will help the world, then you can pay in a way that's more useful to the community, to the people around you. And one thing that's said to be very subtle is the time of death, right? So there is one of Chico's books in which he was part of a team that helped people when they were about to die. And one of the people who would be attended in this by this team was a lady, and she was about to have a grandson. Her daughter was pregnant, and her daughter prayed, asking for her mother not to die. And the team decided that although she was really about to go to the spiritual realm, she could have some time extra here on earth, because if she died, then the pregnancy would be jeopardized. So they gave her some more time. So these negotiations can happen. There are many examples in the books that these kinds of things can happen.
Yeah, that's very good. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, I love it. That story. Art.
The last sentence that I read on this, you must do to help yourselves, reminds me of the phrase, you will find a helping hand at the end of your arm.
That's, yeah, that's very nice. I like it. Yeah, yeah, that's very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Any other comments, folks?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christina. Please.
Yes, there's a lovely saying that faith can move mountains, but we have to bring the shovels.
I love it. Yes.
That's right.
Let's do some exercise sometimes, right? Yes. I love it. Thank you. I didn't know that one. But I will adopt that one for me. Yeah, thank you. All right, shall we move to the next one? Everybody's quiet, so off we go. Number 664. Is there any point in praying for the dead or suffering spirits? If so, in what way can our prayers alleviate or shorten their suffering? Do they have the power to escape God's justice? Without reading the answer, folks, any comment? Okay, so let me pull here.
Well, there's a yes and no answer to that.
Yes.
The yes is, of course, it has some effect on the people for whom you are praying. It arrives as positive energy to them. They may not be aware of it, but it will arrive.
Mhm.
Now, if they've been bad and they're in a dark, cold place, well, then it's going to help, but only a little, because it may help them to see a social worker who is hovering just outside their view. And if they are not in a dark and cold place, but in a normal place, then they will know that your thoughts are coming from you. And it won't affect their karma in any way, because that they have to work out for themselves. That's what atonement is for, or rewards. Because if you've been good, like Hyacinth, you get your reward. As I'm not sure where any of us will be able to see Hyacinth, because she may be too high when we get there. All right, well, that's enough.
No, nothing like that, nothing like that. No, but I do think that we can pray for the dead, because Jesus himself has said that. And in fact, there was a recent...
Hyacinth, he's not the only one who says that, okay?
But that's the,
Guys, but
let's listen to her. That's her guy.
That's my belief. And I'm only sharing my belief. Everybody has their own belief. And so he's asked prayers for those who have long been in darkness. Now they have been in darkness because they cannot face the light. And so they need prayers to help them to see the light so that they can begin to move, because it is time that they move on. So that's all I can say, so that you pray in faith, and that's all you can do. The rest it's not your decision. It's not up to you. It's up to who is organizing this.
Thank you, folks. Thank you, Hyacinth. Carol, you're next.
I totally agree with you, Hyacinth. That was a beautiful statement you made. When I was in Catholic school, we always, well, we prayed 4 times a day and went to Mass every morning. We always prayed for the souls that had passed over. We used the terms that were in purgatory, or, you know, and so, yeah, and in a lot of the afterlife books that I have read, they talk about that the people on earth, that if they pray for the souls that have passed over, that is very helpful to them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I definitely believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Livia, Louise, you're the next. Which one?
Well, thank you. Well, I remember here talking about evidential things. I don't know if you know, but Chico Xavier, this very painstakingly cited medium here in this meeting, he received through his mediumship thousands of consoling letters to mothers who had lost their children. But they were, most of them, dramatically evidential. So much so that these letters become public, and books and television network. Everybody was astonished by the degree of evidence, and he received letters even for famous people, famous actresses, actors who had lost their children. It was really a kind of a shocking moment for Brazil in those decades, because the guy was really something amazing.
Let me just add that one of his letters actually was used as proof in the court, right? For
Yes.
a final decision. And because of that letter, a guy, an innocent guy, was not put in jail. So,
yeah. And the judge was put into dire straits, because he knew the capacity Chico Xavier had to, but Chico Xavier turned them to see other evidence, other proofs, and then they went to the right direction, and the guy was found not guilty, right?
Not guilty, yes.
But what I was saying is that many of those spirits, young spirits, said that when people prayed for them, as they felt as if they were being nourished, as if there was food for them to eat. So much the prayers of a loved one here on earth was in terms of help to them. And the only point they highlighted, kind of negative point, if the prayer was sad or desperate, in this sense, they wouldn't feel good. But if the prayer was in faith and confidence and sincere, and asking for a real help to the loved one, they said it was amazingly, perfectly, a very good strength to them. So this was, and I think it's not only here in Brazil, some other places in the world, some mediums, they say the same thing. I think it's something to remind.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, very good. Thank you. Christina, you have your hand raised.
Yeah. It says, do they have the power to escape God's justice? Well, God's justice is love. It's not necessarily punishment. He means, or it, the force means love to everybody, like the sunshine. So no, you can't escape that sunshine unless you put a block up against it. It's there for you. It's there for everybody. So if we were to pass it on to other people, then we become more transparent. We have to raise our vibes so that, it can go right through us and we aren't blocking the system. So, and as far as suffering souls and the dead that we think are in purgatory or somewhere like that. We on earth have a very strange system of justice. And when you look back through the ages, you know, people have been burned at the stake for thinking something which is completely acceptable now. And so we may be judging a little bit too harshly, and even thinking of people as in trouble when they're not really, but still you can send your thoughts, and as Giles says, it won't hurt, it always helps. So so let's not judge as well, but just try and spread the sunshine.
I love your idea. Thank you so much for sharing. Very nice. Thank you. I love the rationale behind it. Yeah. Thank you. Hi, Sim.
Oh, no, sorry, my hand should have been down.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
No.
I thought you had something to say.
No.
Maria. Maria, you're the next.
Vocês estão me ouvindo?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, speaking Portuguese. We don't know our power. We have learned it in our mediumship meetings that we have the ability to perform a mental induction. For this, we need intention, mental state, and vibratory direction. In the work I cited, Emmanuel said, all right?
Mm-hmm.
A current of thought, as a thought is a subtle and inexhaustible force of the spirit. We can thus categorize it as a living and externalizing current with faculties and self-excitation and unimaginable self-plasticization. We work in our mediumship meetings to mentalize water to the spirit that needs it.
Mm.
And the spirit in mediumship meetings can take the benefits of this mentalization.
Yep.
And I believe that we can do many things if we believe.
Good and bad, but we can, right? So yeah, I agree. Thank you, Maria. Art?
I just wondered, when it comes to praying for those who are dead, how many of us, and probably this group more so, understands what the conditions are in the afterlife? Those who are Bible buffs, they don't understand what the things are, what things are happening in the afterlife. So I think the idea of praying for them, if we can pray with understanding, it would be much more helpful.
Yeah.
Agree. So that's why we study, right? So that's why we need for us to study. And the more we know, the more we learn, the better we can help the ones that have passed, right? And the more effective will be our prayers, I guess. I agree with you. So Art, sorry, but you were the last one and you know the rule. Would you please read the answer for us?
Okay. Prayer has no effect on God's designs, but the spirits for whom you pray are consoled by your prayers because you are showing them proof of your interest. They are comforted by the kindness of those who are compassionate towards their pain. Your prayers may also motivate them to repent and to do everything within their power to become happy. This is how you may shorten the terms of their suffering, provided that they support your actions by that of their own wills. This desire for betterment, motivated by your prayers, attracts higher spirits who come to enlighten them, console them, and give them hope. Jesus prayed for the sheep that went astray, and in doing so showed that you, in order to have a clear conscience, must do the same for those who desperately need your prayers.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's a combination of everything that has been said. How many of you did watch the movie Astro City? Did everybody did? Okay, so we have people that didn't watch the movie. The movie is very interesting one. It tells a lot about what happens to the afterlife. It gives us some explanation a little bit, kind of what Art was talking about, and I remember the movie is about this doctor. He died, and then he was in this dark zone. It's kind of a transition between Earth or physical dimension and the afterlife. So he was in this dark zone, and that zone is kind of confusing. It's not a very nice zone from a vibration standpoint. It's not a good vibe kind of zone. And then he was there in suffering, but in the meantime, his mother that has passed many years before him, she was located in the higher realms. And from that point, she was able to see where her son was, located, because of his condition. By the time he died, he passed away, he was not in a very good condition. So he went to this dark zone. Well, but his mother could see, she was aware where he was. And then she was praying, and she was trying to help him to recover and, and get better, and then move to a better stage. So move to this place that they call Astro City. So it's just one of the examples, that prayer is not just for us incarnate ones, but among them, they also benefit, from the prayers, from the relatives, for the other ones who have already passed. I will take note of it here. I will send to you all a link to the movie. So I do not know if we have Netflix or something, but at least I will send a note saying the name of the movie and the place where you can find it. It's a very good one. Comments? Okay, Una. No?
Nope. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. Next one is 665. What should we think of the opinion that rejects the idea of praying for the dead because it is not noted in the gospel? Comments? What should we think of the opinion that rejects the idea of praying for the dead because it is not noted in the gospel? Does anyone want to explain? Okay, I knew Luis was about to say something.
I remember, well, I think I've already told you this. I was talking to a Protestant guy, and when he discovered, he didn't even mention the word spiritist, because he had kind of prejudice about it. So he said, Luis Sergio, I've heard that you are. Yes, what's the problem? Yeah, what's up? So oh, come on, you know so much about the gospel. What a waste to know that you are a spiritist. And he said to me, look, for example, reincarnation, it makes sense. For me, it's very logical, but it's not in the Bible. This says, you believe that everything is in the Bible. Say, oh, yes. So why did Jesus say that I have so much to say to you, but you cannot bear? And I will send you in the future the spiritual truth to explain everything that I now cannot talk about. Well, I think for the first time, a guy like that was shut up in front of me, right? And he said, oh, I'm going to talk to my pastor about that. But that's it. It was never, of course, Jesus Christ came to teach love and relationship, right? But all the time he came to spirituality and knowledge about, he said, oh, it's not now, it's not the time, right? Let's wait for in the Enlightenment, the guys of the dictionaries of science. Let's wait for them first. Let's wait for, and this is something very important, because if you are talking to an individual that hasn't surpassed the enlightenment phase of his life, is useless to talking to him about the spirits and the reality that we require some rationality to approach religiousness. Understand?
Yeah, very nice. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Very good story. Hi, Sid.
Yes, I know everything is in the Bible. I get so tired to hear that. And, you know, and again, I say this to bishops, you know, because there are other things that have happened, because, you know, at the time, would people have understood email and telephone?
Exactly.
I mean, there is a development, and there is a development, as Lewis said. There are many things I could tell you, but you cannot bear them now. You cannot understand. But now we are open and we understand far more.
Not
So
everything yet, but far more. Yeah,
far
precisely.
more that we are understanding.
Yes.
And it's evolving all the time.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Hyacinth. Art.
The fundamentalist Christian, I used to be one, they understand that when you die, it's like the tree falls where it lands. You know, if you're in heaven, they have no idea of gradations of situations in heaven. It's either heaven, which is all sweetness and light, or hell, which is all fire and anguish. So in this case, I have a tendency to dislike the Bible because it gives you so much misinformation.
And there's a nice art, I can add a little thing there. And hell is where you are banished forever, to be tortured and damned and tortured forever. But he loves you.
Was that Carlin?
Of course.
And what's more,
Yeah.
you have to forgive 70 times 7.
Yeah.
God doesn't, but you have. So it's something that's
Sorry,
very
I'm-
logical indeed.
Sorry, Hyacinth, I know that's going to be annoying for you.
No,
But-
she's
What?
fine.
And what is annoying to me?
Okay, no, nothing. I didn't say anything.
No.
She was
no,
paying
because-
attention.
Because
She did.
I say again, it is bullshit to talk about burning forever in hell. It
Yeah.
makes no sense.
Yeah.
I really get
It's a
so
very simple reason for that, and that assumes that God has made a faulty spirit, which of course is not possible. Sorry, Christina, it's your.
Yeah, Christina.
Thanks, Charles. You always say something interesting. I was just thinking, well, look, this is teaching how wrong is dogma when you solidify an idea and you know, say it's never going to change. This is it. The only thing that's never going to change is love, the power of love, and that is the unalterable fact. And the Bible isn't all bad. Well, of course, it was never intended to be bad at all. It was the highest thinking that was happening at the time. But down the ages, it has been tinkered with, and who knows who the journalists were at the time, and who knows what editors have been at it. So, and actually, even now, you can see so many versions of the Bible. You're never quite sure what was the original saying, you know. But I think the Sermon on the Mount from Jesus, who was a really enlightened soul and still is, that you can take as probably the nearest thing you can have to being a mystic or to being an enlightened person. So, you know, the fundamentalists, they can pick and choose, but there is some good in the Bible. There's a lot of really good psychology there. For instance, somewhere it says, don't even to call your somebody raka, and that means fool. Don't call somebody a fool. That's not good. And if you want to pray, just make sure that you're at peace with your brother, that you don't have any anger on your mind, because and this is it. This is really good psychology, and in fact it is good, because you're just blocking the love which is coming to you if you are pushing out all this negative stuff. So yeah, so this is somehow we have to educate people very gently. As Art says, you can't teach people above their understanding. And didn't Solomon say, with all you're getting, get understanding? This is what you really need. And I like Khalil Gibran, where he's got a lot of beautiful thoughts there, you know? Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh my goodness. What I love about this group, guys, you were so smart. You know, I learned every day.
It's not me.
Don't laugh, Art. We are smart. Yes. Luis, Olivia, please, guys.
And now it's me. I remember that in Chico's books, he received messages saying that the primitive Christians, the first ones, after Jesus died, they believed in the afterlife, and they prayed for the spirits, and they knew about reincarnations, and they talked about it between them. And they were every time together and praying, not for the living ones, but for the deads. And that's in every books from Chico's in the Christians' primitive time.
But there is, I think there is evidence that it happened in the past,
Yeah.
too, of course.
Yeah.
But not after, because look, the what they call the charismatic people were kind of chased away from the power of the church. Because wherever there is an institution, mediums are not very well received, because many times they will come with information that goes against dogmas created by scholars and doctors of the law, just like Jesus Christ was condemned by the doctors of his time, right?
Yeah.
As the doctors of the law were all the time, right, trying to, you know, to obstacle or ridicule Jesus and things like that, because they have their theories, their theology in their minds, but fact is fact. And the guy comes, well, Chico Xavier, let me tell you about Chico Xavier. Do you think Chico Xavier was openly and well accepted by the Spiritist movement at once like this? No, the guy was such a phenomenon that many Spiritists, oh, come on, it's impossible. That's not true. Oh, this book's not according to the codification of Spiritism. But in time, and with his example of life, and with his teachings, and with the evidence of the people had to capitulate, you know,
Mhm.
sometimes a little bit angrily, but they did. So these scholars are everywhere, right?
Yeah, very
know?
well said. Yeah,
That's-
yeah. Thank you, guys. Hi, Sid, you're the next.
Yes, yes, you're right, Giles. When that whole thing with reincarnation, that was the Council of Nicaea in 350 when they did a lot of changes. But oh no, I've lost the train of thought. What was it that Lewis said? I've lost the train of thought. It'll come back later.
You were supporting the various passages of the Bible. And,
No, it
and
was
yes.
Yes, the scholars have been going back to the original Greek in which it was written and looking again, because it is what did translators understand?
Yes.
And so they wrote what they understood. And in fact, sometimes they changed it because of the grammar, because I did a session with an Oxford well, he had been working on this, and he went through it using the ancient Greek. So there is a lot in that.
Yes.
But the
Yeah.
basic thing is, what did Jesus say?
Say.
That is my guiding principle, not what the church tells me Jesus meant.
Yes.
I told you, those guys are so smart. Yeah, I happen to have a friend, and when he is, I guess today he is 84 years old or something, but by the time he was 15 years old, he decided to learn Greek because he wanted to understand the Bible, but not the Greek that is spoken today, but the ancient Greek. And he did it, he made it. And then he read, the most, or, what is the closest to the version of the Bible that we have today, but in Greek, ancient Greek. And that's exactly what you said. He mentioned, I read the two versions. I read versions in English and in French because he speaks other languages. And he said, most of the times, the problems that I've seen is related to translation and misinterpretation, and a lot of interpretation everywhere, but anyway, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you. Gloria.
In comment, I've been honored on a couple of occasions to hear Dr. Rocco Errico speak, and he's a scholar of Aramaic, and to hear him say the Lord's Prayer in the original Aramaic, you'll feel a rush go through your whole body. It's amazing. And he writes regular articles on the mistranslations from Aramaic into the Bible that we have today. There are just so many misinterpretations that cause confusion.
Exactly. And there is one thing that we need to keep in mind as well, because as we evolve, our means to communicate in our languages, the way that we think, etc., it does evolve as well. So we have to keep in mind that whatever communication we had in the past, it was not perhaps as effective as it is today. So, right. So anyway. Hi, Saint, if still have.
No, I'll just add that for me, what made me understand this about how different interpreters and translators do it according to what they understand. Because I remember doing in my Latin in high school, we had a brilliant teacher, and doing the translations, and she would say that you have to get the meaning. You may not change the meaning. And we spent hours, getting it so it's poetic, but keeping to the meaning. And so this is what you understand. A lot of people just translate how they feel. So there is a lot of error.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Giles?
Yes. Yes, indeed. Allan Kardec reviewed the available mediums shortly after it was not declared no longer a burning offense to be a capital offense to be a medium. And he had 1,000 questions put to each of them. And he combined those into the book that we're reading. Now, nobody has mistranslated Allan Kardec's book. Nobody has left anything out. Nobody has added material to it. And if they have, they say, well, it's our opinion that the answer means this. And this I discovered in Wikipedia, to my great pleasure, that Allan Kardec, this book was really well chosen, because you can toss out 99% of the other crap because it's been fiddled with. This has not been. So on we go, please, with the book, not the 2,000-year-old one.
Come on. So since you were the last one, would you please read the answer for us? You have a good voice. Hey, Jack. Okay.
What should we think of the opinion that rejects the idea of praying for the dead because it is not noted in the gospel? Christ preached to all humanity, love one another. This implies the duty of using every possible means of showing affection for each other without going into any details in terms of reaching that end. If it is true that nothing can stop the Creator from applying absolute justice, then your prayer on behalf of suffering spirits is accepted as proof of honor and acknowledgement, which never fails to bring relief to the subjects. As soon as those for whom you pray show the slightest sign of repentance, and only then, help is sent to them. They are always informed that a sympathetic heart has thought of them, and they are always left with the consoling impression that this friendly intervention has been of use to them. Therefore, your prayer induces gratitude and affection for the friend who has given them this proof of kindness and pity. The mutual love that Christ shines upon all humankind either develops further or awakens between you and them. Both you and those for whom you pray will have obeyed the law of love and union imposed on all beings of the universe, a divine law that will introduce the reign of unity and harmony, the ultimate goal of all spirits. Yes, this was in the days before they had looked at Eastern work and had come up with the concept of karma, which is why Allan Kardec never uses that word anywhere. Sorry, that was an uncalled for addition.
Thank you. Any comment on this?
Well, of course, I've got a comment on this. And the story I've told already, which is that there was a Christian fundamentalist here in my North Carolina hometown, where he's beating on about the Bible being the only source of information available and every word is true and and so, and I said, well, there are two things we can agree on. And he said, what's that, with his shoulders going up like this? And I said, well, one is to love God and the other is to love your neighbor as yourself. Oh, he said, and down went the shoulders. And then as it happened, a year later, I was in West Africa talking to a Muslim imam. And we were going back and forward with his stories from the Quran and what he felt was true or not. And then in the end, I said, well, there are two things we can agree on. And up went his shoulders like this. And so I said the same thing to him. And he said, oh, that's right. So that was, so let's cut the crap. I mean, sorry, I shouldn't even use a 4-letter word, should I? And just stick to those beautiful 2 statements which cover it all.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Giles. Well, folks, 4:15, we are, at 4:13 actually. So I guess I will just stop here and not start with the next question. But for the meantime, I must say, I love having this group together, like I said, and I mean it. This is a group of very smart people. I do learn a lot every time that we meet. And anyway, what can I say? You're very dear to my heart. So I pray, Jesus, that you guys will be safe, sound, and under his protection and under his peace as well.
Thank you. Now, Annie's got something to say. It's about time
Annie,
too. An hour and a
yes.
half, she's been quiet. Come on, let's have
Yes.
something.
Well, it's not going to be anything mind-blowing. I just wanted to know, I'm just going to hold this book up. Anna, is this the book that we're going to be studying from in our new group? Can you see it? It's the medium. Is this it?
Yes.
Okay. That was all I wanted to know. And I was just also asked to tell you from Antonio that he was going to make it today, but he was at a course with Dr. Jane Bissler. So he'll be joining us next week and also in the new class, the new group.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, yay. We have a new member. Good. Thank you. Hi, Sam.
Yes, no, I just want to say that, the medical profession, the doctors are looking at this bit about praying for the sick. And they have come up, I'm not a statistician and I don't have the statistics in my head, but the vast number of people who were prayed for felt much better, even if they didn't know, because they did it. Some knew they were being prayed for, some didn't, and so they worked it out. And there's no doubt in those doctors' minds who worked on that project that prayer was helpful.
Yeah.
Since I can back you up on that, and some of my reading, the persons who were being prayed for had forgotten that they'd asked the group to pray for them. This you'll like, Luis. And there was one in particular that was in the bathroom, scratching about or whatever you do in the bathroom. And boom, the whole bathroom suddenly became full of blue light. And she said, I forgot this. I was supposed to be really accepting the prayer for me. And this blue light had appeared everywhere. And this, of course, I remember and is worth repeating.
Yes, it
Yeah. Yeah.
Annie?
And another personal thing that happened to me, my pulse rate was racing and I went up to the hospital and they had a monitor to do it. And they said, because the aorta and the other one, it was not working in sync. So one was trying to make up for the other. So I was in hospital overnight. And then just at that time, I know there was a meeting and I said to them, look, I'm in hospital, so tune in for me. And the cardiologist came to me that same night. So I went down to have a lung x-ray. And she said, I don't know, but something happened on the way to the x-ray and from the x-ray, because now it's normal.
I totally.
Come on, Annie, let's have another go.
Thank you, Hyacinth.
Annie, you've got your hand up. Oh, come on, you've got to say something. You can't just sit there and say nothing.
All right, folks.
Just
So
before you go, just one more question, please. Hyacinth, Do you know anything? Are you informed about the minority report from the Anglican Church? It's something that I'm very interested in. Do you remember this? Have you got any news about this minority report from 1939? Do you remember this?
No, but I can look into it. The Minority Report. Okay.
Yeah, the Minority Report is a group of Anglican priests that wanted to study about mediumship and wanted to insert mediumship in the Anglican Church procedures, right? And yes, and they agreed that was going to be good, but somehow the big bishop there decided to shelve it. But a reporter brought it to light in 1939, and it was published, right? I talked to to Reverend Michael Cox in my interview with him in my channel, right? I think this is a very important, very important issue. I think it's very interesting. And Dr. and Reverend Cox, he said this was a text for him inside the Anglican Church, right? I think was okay, but that's all. People need to go, right?
Oh, yes, yes. But Michael himself was psychic.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Absolutely. And he was a combination. His mother was psychic, and he was fourth generation Anglican priest. So he had both.
Wow.
And as I said, he talked to Saint Stephen over a 7-year period.
That's it. Okay, I believe that.
So you can imagine when I had him as a priest, you can understand how I grew.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all, and see you next Saturday then. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.
Everybody
Bye.
take care. See you next week.
See you.
See you.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow,